It's no doubt that COVID has greatly affected our daily habits, especially when it comes to work. In fact, employees now cannot join their offices and they're able to work from home. And working from home means that it doesn't matter where you are located as long as you can perform your work. So many people after COVID moved out of global cities and got back to their homes, which might be a different home country. And Italy has witnessed a high increase in south working. Many people moved from the north down south, and I'm not referring to the north of Italy, but of northern Europe. So, for instance, from London, from Germany, from Amsterdam, they moved down to Sicily. Well, it's undeniable that the quality of life is different, the weather is better, and now you can finally work from home without going to the office every day, avoiding commuting, avoiding office time, and be more free in many cases. However, this has great tax consequences because in Italy, you cannot work from Italy remaining under a foreign entity payroll. So, if your employer is in London, they run the payroll in the UK, but you work from Italy, unless you have an assignment or you are seconded to an Italian entity, you cannot legally do that. It's a breach of Italian labor laws legislation and it's a breach of Italian social security legislation, which is motivated by the EU regulation. If you work from Italy, you need to have an Italian payroll. So how do you do that? Well, the first option is to be hired through an agency. Your foreign employer pays an agency that runs the payroll that pays you. The second option is that if your employer has a local representative office, which has no consequences on the VAT position, no adverse consequences on the corporate tax, it's just a Chamber of Commerce registration. And with that number, you can run an Italian payroll, you can be hired under the Italian labor laws, and you can pay Social Security. You can always self-assess income tax. You cannot self-assess Social Security because 2/3 has to be paid by your employer and 1/3 is payable by you. So if you do that, you're finally legal. The third option is going freelance. So you set up your personal freelancing position and you invoice as a contractor the foreign entity. However, this might have a few consequences because being a freelance is not the same as being an employee. There are labor laws differences. As a freelance, you can choose who to work for. You can choose when to work for a certain person. You are not required to work 9 to 5 or whatever the office hours are, and you have to have your own mean of work. Means that your employer should not provide you with your computer, etc., etc. That's the difference between being employed and being freelance. But why should you do that? Well, it's not just about being legal, but there is a huge opportunity to start working from home from Italy, especially if you lived overseas. If you were not a tax resident of Italy in the 2 years prior moving to Italy, you have available the new residence tax regime, which means that you have a 70% tax exemption on your income for 5 years. So if you make 50,000 euros, you only pay tax on 15,000. So 70% is tax free. And this is further reduced to 10%, meaning 5,000 euros if you move to south. It still lasts 5 years, which means that you save so much on your tax bill. If we calculate your marginal tax rate, it cannot go any higher than 13%. So if you make 1 million, 1 billion, or 10,000 euros, you can still get the 90% exemption if you move down south. You don't need to incorporate your entity. You need to do your employed work or set up a business or be a freelance, or you can set up a business and get a salary from the business itself, and this also attracts the exemption, and this can be further increased to an extra 5 years, totaling up 10 years if you either buy any residential property in Italy or you have a family dependent. And by the way, if you buy a residential property in Italy, you can also benefit of the super bonus, so you can renovate your home for free. So I think there are huge opportunities in the upcoming years to work from Italy, not even counting the quality of life and the weather and the possibility of living a different life instead of staying in the north, but also this can be a great place for digital nomads and for remote workers because they can save so much on their taxes and do more with less money. However, you need to be compliant and you need to find a good tax accountant that guides you through that, through all the caveats to benefit of those new regimes.